My comment section is full of Tesla haters that say Teslas are terrible vehicles for driving on snowy and icy roads, and I have to say that that is flat out untrue. My experiences owning a Tesla over the past 2 winters, both of which have been snowy and icy, is completely different from what those comments would have you believe. And in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what I've experienced driving our Tesla Model Y long range over the past 2 winters in snowy and icy conditions, and a few helpful tips for some of you new Tesla owners out there to get you through that winter driving malaise. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Boondock Tesla. Winter weather is upon us, and with a big snowstorm moving into my region over the past few days, I've experienced all the joys of driving on snowy and icy roads. And I have to say that my 2023 Model Y long range has handled it pretty well. Now, no matter what vehicle you drive on snowy and icy roads, travel is going to be difficult. This is the nature of the beast. But the Tesla Model Y long range is very well equipped to handle these conditions, much to the chagrin of many of my commenters out there. I would say the #1 reason why the Tesla Model Y long range is a fantastic vehicle for driving on snowy and icy roads is because of the true all-wheel drive system. Now, some 4-wheel drive vehicles aren't true 4-wheel drive, and this is because of an open differential in that vehicle. So a lot of gas or diesel-powered vehicles have an open differential, meaning that only 3 wheels of a true 4-wheel drive system are spinning, which doesn't really help you because that's reduced traction because not all 4 tires are spinning. That's not the case with the Tesla Model Y long range, which is a true all-wheel drive setup. Now, this all-wheel drive setup is very beneficial for snowy and icy roads because you have all 4 wheels being powered to make sure that you can maintain optimum traction on these wet and slippery conditions. This is going to be especially helpful when you're going up hills because you need that increased traction to combat the snow and ice on the roads. Now, the second reason the Model Y can really hold its own out there on those snowy and icy roads is the weight factor. The Model Y, and really all Tesla vehicles, are very, very heavy thanks to a very large battery at the bottom of the vehicle, and they have a low center of gravity. So this weight, coupled with the true all-wheel drive system, helps maintain maximum traction on the road surface, be it snowy, icy, or just very slick and wet. That is going to ensure that your wheels are getting maximum traction as you're driving on those surfaces. If you had a, say, pickup truck and you don't have weight in the back of the truck, those tires would likely spin a lot more because there's nothing creating a downward force for them to actually apply all of that power in the form of traction to the road surface. The Model Y has evenly distributed weight, which helps increase traction across all points of contact on the road surface. This is especially helpful when you're going up a very snowy or icy road. For example, my driveway is about a 1/4 mile long and it's uphill. We've never had an issue climbing that hill, even in snowy and icy conditions with our Model Y, thanks to the increased weight and the true all-wheel drive setup. Now, the third reason I really enjoy the Tesla in snowy and icy conditions is the fact that I can select what acceleration mode I want, and regeneration mode, which is very important and I'll get to in just a second. By selecting the chill mode, which is what I suggest you do on slippery, icy, wet conditions, you are going to limit the amount of power that can get to the wheels, thereby limiting the possibility of rapid acceleration, which breaks traction, which leads to skidding and sliding in your vehicle, and nobody wants that. By putting the vehicle into chill mode, you're going to have a gradual increase with your acceleration, which is much, much safer on dangerous road conditions, especially on snow and ice. You're not going to break traction, and that is a good thing. Now, with regards to regenerative braking, I normally recommend in the wintertime that you keep it on hold, which is going to be maximum regeneration and provide the maximum energy back into the battery during those regeneration cycles. However, on slippery, wet, icy, snowy conditions, hold is not a great idea because it locks the wheels up, because it's wanting to regenerate and put that energy back into the battery. Rather, you should place the regenerative braking on roll, which means that you're going to see less energy going back into the battery, but it's a much safer braking style on these slippery, wet conditions. In many instances, when you have hold on the vehicle, and I've been in this several times, and we're driving on the road, it's snowy, it's icy, and say an animal runs out or something, and you let off the pedal, that regen kicks in, and you begin to slide. It's almost like the brakes lock up on you because there's no friction and traction to push that vehicle into regeneration mode. Rather, you're just sliding on the ice and snow. So by moving the braking selection into roll, if that happens, you're able to allow the vehicle to roll freely and then feather the brake pedal in accordance to make sure that you don't strike that animal or that object in the road. It's a much safer braking style on these slippery road conditions. It allows you a little bit more control, which is a good thing. Now, the fourth reason I feel really comfortable taking the Model Y long range out on these snowy and icy roads when I have to is dynamic traction control, which is a system that allows Tesla to limit the amount of wheel spin and loss of traction that the vehicle is experiencing during these snowy and icy conditions. And this has happened to us several times where dynamic traction control is actually kicked in. We're driving on the road, there's a patch of black ice, and you go over the ice and your wheel spins a little bit. Well, the traction control will actually adjust and limit the amount of power that gets sent to each motor, which is another awesome point that Tesla has in its favor, and it will limit the amount of power that goes to the wheel to reduce wheel spin to make sure you don't have a spin out and a slide or anything like that. So Tesla's computer system and drivetrains actively working to help you manage these really tough driving conditions in the form of that dynamic traction control. Now, most vehicles have some form of traction control, at least newer models do. And I know that you've probably seen the little icon when you've spun out in the driveway during those icy conditions. But there's a huge difference between a traditional gas or diesel powered vehicle's traction control system and Tesla's. And the main difference is that Tesla has independent electric motors, and the ability to limit or provide power to each individual wheel in such small increments is what makes the dynamic traction control system from Tesla so good. Now, most gas or diesel powered vehicles often use braking applications to slow power to the wheel. In some cases, some manufacturers do have electronically controlled drivetrain units that can limit power supply to wheels, but they don't have the flexibility that Tesla has, and that is very significant when you're driving on wet and slippery roads. Now, the fifth reason I found that the Model Y long range is a real performer in snowy and icy conditions is slip start. Slip start is a mode that you can place the vehicle into which allows free spin of all of your wheels. Now, essentially this disables dynamic traction control. And I know I just went on a long speech about why that's important, but slip start is very important in certain situations, especially if you're stuck in a snowdrift, sand, or mud, and you need to get out of that, but you keep trying to do that and the wheels spin and dynamic traction control kicks in thinking you're in a skid motion and they're trying to stop power to the wheels to provide safety to you. Slip start is going to allow you to eliminate that briefly so that you can get out of that stuck position and get the vehicle into a free roll. Slip start is really only necessary when you are stuck, and that's where it's going to benefit you. At high speeds, it's not going to benefit you at all. It could actually act as a detriment because you want that dynamic traction control to assist when you lose traction. If your wheels are spinning too much and you're going into a slide or a skid, that's going to help bring you back into a straight position so that you can regain traction in the vehicle and control of the vehicle. But slip start is going to provide that ability to free the vehicle if you're in the snowdrift, if you're in the sand, in the mud, get you free rolling so that you can go on your merry way. Contrary to popular belief, the Tesla Model Y actually does perform very well in snowy and icy conditions. And if you want to get maximum range out of your Tesla this winter when you're driving through those snowdrifts, check this video out right here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.